Hello, Power Up Nation. I'm Pat Council. And before we get into our podcast episode for today, I will be sharing details about my upcoming masterclass and the power planning day for this month that's coming up. You can find information in the show notes, but stay tuned to the end of the podcast and you can get more details. You do not want to miss all of the great things that's happening in All Out April. Okay, let's get to our show. Everything you desire is waiting for you to claim it. There's no creating involved, only invention through imagination and building through action. You are at the center of all your desires, dreams, and achievements. Welcome to Designing Your Life Today, the podcast that's all about your success, achieving your goals, building wealth through your business, and building your most passionate, powerful, magnificent life. Discover ways to use your purpose to connect you to serving others and living your dreams. I am Pat Council, and I know you are built by design to win. And it all begins with knowing how to tap into your success energy. Let's get on the path of discovery, decisive action, development, unwavering dedication to your life's calling. It's time to embark on a transformative journey where your deepest passions become your most rewarding achievements. Embrace your power to shape your destiny because this is your moment to do life with power. Hello, Power Up Nation. I'm Pat Council, and on Designing Your Life Today, I'm going to share 3 ways to improve your life now, starting now, right now. And so let's get into it. The reason why I wanted to share this information is because this is All Out April. So we're going all out. Now, all out doesn't mean that you have to do things by leaps and bounds. You can do things kind of inch by inch or little by little. However, leaps and bounds, when you do things faster, not in haste, but when you do it faster with a good plan, it does kind of feel better because you can kind of get your momentum. But if you do it little by little, you can still get momentum and eventually you'll get faster and faster. But with that being said, I wanted to share some ways that you can improve your life now, because I think when people start to see progress, no matter how big or small that progress is, it inspires them to want to do more. So let's get right into it. First of all, in order for you to improve your life starting now, take the time to identify who you are becoming. One of the easiest ways to kind of make a shift in our thinking is to take the time to identify who we're becoming. And because if you're not paying attention to your life and you're so busy looking at what's going on outside in the outside world, what's going on with everyone else, or paying attention to things that are not taking you in the direction that you desire to go, then you're not going to get there. So the object of the game is to identify who you are becoming as it is and connect it to your goals. Okay, as in relation to your goals. Okay, so as it's related to whatever the goal is that you set, and the goal, it can be, and you don't have to, you can have, like, if you have 3 or 4 goals on your paper, I always share with people, listen, pick one, focus on one. And a lot of times the others will happen because they're connected. Okay, so you can have a physical goal, a relationship goal, a money goal, and solve any one of those, and you'll find that the other ones will start to fall in place. There's a book called The Energy of Money. I'm not sure who the author is. I read it many years ago, and I remember reading this. One of the things that the author wrote in the book was that you can always tell if they have problems with their relationships and with their health because they have problems with their finances. And so to me, it doesn't just, it's not just one way. In other words, if you have problems with your relationship, then you're probably going to have problems with your health and your finances. Or if you have problems with your health, then you're going to have problems with your finances and your relationships. So if you fix one and you work on achieving one, and then the others will begin to fall in place, assuming these are areas in which you want to correct. And sometimes you don't even have to set that goal. You just need to set one clear goal. So with that being said, identify who you're becoming. And in order for you to clearly identify who you're becoming, you do have to have a clear goal. In other words, why do you want to become this? Whatever it is. Okay. Why do I want to be physically fit? Okay. This is something that you want to identify. Okay. And then once you decide, you know what the goal is. Once you decide who you're becoming, now you begin to see a picture. You need to see what that looks like. Whether, it includes having more money, a better relationship, better health, doesn't matter. Okay. Or physically fit, or all of the above. So whatever it includes, you need to know what that looks like. That way you can really connect to it. That's the beautiful part of our imagination and being able to visualize things. The other thing that you want to keep in mind when you identify who you're becoming, let's break it down and let's put a label to it. You see, this is why when people are called names that they aren't, this is why they get offended. This is why their feelings get hurt, because the labels that we put on ourselves matter. So give yourself, and I call it the I am factor. Activate your I am factor. I am a millionaire. I am a multimillionaire. I am becoming wealthier and wealthier every day. I am abundantly blessed. These kinds of things. I am physically fit. I am excited about my loving, healthy relationship. These kinds of things. This is, you want to identify it, and let's put a label to it. And if you say, well, that's not a big deal. Well, here's the thing. When you put a label to something, now it has an identity. Now it's up to you to adopt that identity and then adapt to that identity, meaning you have to make some adjustments in how you're living and what you're doing. So with that being said, this is how important this is. If you go to the Bible and you go to the book of Genesis, God had Adam name every single animal, all the creatures, okay, fish, everything. So there is a reason for that. Identity. Every animal has a purpose. Okay. Every animal, and I'm not saying whether the purpose is good or bad. It's not my call. And I'm saying that because, okay, I don't care what anybody says. I don't like snakes. I'm sorry. But the point, it's not that I don't like them. They just, it'll give me the willies. Let's not get into that. But the point is, back on track. The point that I'm making is, if you think about it, just a mere fact that, the snake has an identity in my mind. Okay. So the point is, when you give yourself an identity and you start to, adopt that identity and you adapt to that identity, you're going to operate as though that identity already exists, because this is how we make things happen. The I am factor. Okay. This is also faith. And so you don't worry about the how. So many people are afraid of putting a label, a positive label on themselves, which is so weird because they have no problem labeling themselves as lazy or a procrastinator, or putting negative labels on themselves, which is kind of interesting. So if that's you, get away from the negative labels. And if people are going to criticize you for putting a positive label on yourself, and I've said this more than once, just don't go around and tell everybody. It's not their business as to who you're becoming. You want to become in silence. Things are built in the quiet. Plants break through the ground in the silence at night. So, with that being said, that's the first thing. Who are you becoming? Be clear about it and turn it into an I am factor. Okay, put an I am and write this down every single day and write it down at night. And if you say, oh my goodness, that's so much work, I'm not going to remember to do that. You know what? Just start where you are. Start where you are. Write. If you can only remember to write in the morning but in the back of your mind, it needs to be written at night. And eventually you're going to end up doing both because you will start to believe that this is who you are. And you're going to start to make adjustments and you're going to make the mindset shift. And before you know it, you're going to be that. So, how does that improve your life now? The minute you identify with something amazing, something magnificent, the magnificent part of you, you are already there. So your life has been improved now, in the present moment. Number two, you want to clear any kind of what I call open mental holes in your mind. Okay. And you're like, what? I have holes in my mind? Well, here's the thing. When you have a lot of unresolved issues, when you have a lot of unresolved or unfinished projects, unfinished business, and broken promises, yeah, you have a lot of things taking up space in your mind. And so to give it a visual, I call them holes. Okay. So if you were to imagine that, let's say you had a piece of cloth, a piece of fabric, and for every unfinished project, you cut a hole in that piece of cloth. How many holes would you have in that cloth? And if you look and say, oh my goodness, I have too many holes, I'm going to stop, cutting holes. And if you say I have at least 10 holes, then that tells you that those 10 things, it's taking your energy. It is sucking up your energy. Okay. Which is taking away from you putting your energy towards achieving your goals. And I can tell you, this is something that it doesn't matter how accomplished you are. It is important that you pay attention. And I've learned this over the years that it doesn't matter what I've done in the past, that the minute I achieve a certain level of success and then all of a sudden, and I let my guard down a little bit. Oh no, I get excited. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do that. And then I only do like 1 out of 4, maybe. Okay. I don't really do 1 out of 4. Okay, I've trained myself not to make those kind of promises to myself, or to anyone else. But a lot of times I do get excited about doing more than one project. And so that's creating a lot of holes. So one of the things that I do is I pay attention to all those holes, and I have to clear it up. And you want to look across the board. Now I'm using business as an example, but we're talking, and I can use fitness as an example as well. Okay, because that is something. Because I would rather sit in front of my computer and coach someone or go do a presentation where I'm teaching something about entrepreneurship or goal achievement or mindset. I'd rather do that as opposed to spending an hour or 2 in the gym. Okay, so my point is, but if I make myself that promise that I'm going to work out an hour a day, okay, or an hour and a half, and I don't do it, now I've created a hole. So I'm using that as an example. And you can see that you can use this. You want to pay attention to your holes, whatever holes you've created in your mind. Okay. Unfinished projects. All right. Also, where you've promised yourself certain things. And now you've created what I call the integrity hole. There's the energy being sucked away because now you don't feel good about not following through. Okay. Or following through. You haven't followed through. So look at that. And now if you take all of those holes, one of the best things you can do is start to close them. All right. So how do you know which ones to close? Yeah, this is where good old fashioned paper. And yes, you can, of course, get on your best word program on your computer and you can make a list. You can do an Excel spreadsheet if you want to, however you want to do it. But make a list of all these holes that you have. Now, the other thing you want to do is once you've made the holes, look at the holes and say, you know what? This one is never going to happen. I'm never going to do this. I'm no longer interested in this. If it's a particular hobby that you said you were going to start and you're not going to do it, take it off the list. All right. So now your list is getting smaller already. So now you're freeing up some energy in your life. And now you're freeing up space in your mind, which of course, where the freed up energy in your life comes from. And now you can take that energy and you can start to redirect it towards what I mentioned in number 1, your identity, this person that you want to become. So now you can redirect. So after you've listed and you've looked at every hole that you've created, this is unfinished business, then make the decision that you're going to close at least one hole a day or one hole every other day or one a week, but at least start dealing with them. Okay. Don't worry about always the how, but make a decision, kind of put a date on some of them. And you don't have to date all of them at once, okay, because you don't want to be overwhelmed. You could pick maybe, if you have 10 things on the list or 20 things on the list or 50 things on the list, pick maybe 4 and start to deal with closing those. As I said, one per day, one every other day, one a week. You decide. All right. And once you've done that, you're going to realize that you're going to start to get your attention back. The more you can close, the more you're going to get your attention back. The other thing is you're going to get rid of that overwhelmed feeling, that feeling that, oh my goodness, there's not enough hours in the day. There are enough hours in the day. You just have to close some of those loops and put your focus on the right thing. And the right thing would be the goals that are connected to the identity that you are establishing. Number 3, you want to pick one thing and commit to doing that one thing every day. Whatever that one thing is. All right. Pick something that's going to improve your life. For example, it can be exercise. And you go, oh my goodness, who exercises every single day? I'm not talking about a hard workout every single day. Perhaps on a day that you were going to rest, you could just go for a short walk just to get some sun. It could be, 15, 20-minute walk, but you're moving. You're doing something, because what you're doing is you're sending a message to your brain that, no, we're serious. This is going to happen. You're telling your subconscious that, you know what, this is my identity now. And you want to reinforce that. And you reinforce it by doing it every single day and not letting yourself off the hook. And you want to keep going. If you can keep doing something and kind of get to day 15, I'm going to do this 15 days in a row. And as I said, we're not talking about overexerting yourself. We're talking about you being able to actually put a check in the box saying, yes, I got this done. And one of the things that I like to use habit stickers. And I'll see if I can find some and put a link in the show notes for you, the ones that I use. I'll see if I can find the ones that I use. I put them in my planner. Now, my planner actually has kind of a habit page where I can check off what I've done. Okay. However, these are colorful. I like those better. They're streamlined. And I just peel one off, and pop it on the page, and I get to check it off for that, throughout the week. And I just like the act of being able to peel it off, and it sends a message to my brain. Oh, we've got to put our new habit sticker. So it gives me more to do. So as I said, I'll see if I can find the ones that I use, and I'll pop it in the show notes. And the thing about this is you want to pick that one thing and you want to keep doing it. Now, these are 3 things that you can do to improve your life now. And I promise you, if you get on it now, you're going to feel better. Number 1, pick your identity. Put a name on who you're becoming. Number 2, clear up any of the open holes that you have in your mind. All right. Decide what you're going to do with all of that unfinished business. And just you decide what your unfinished business is. This is not just about making money. This could be, as I said, about your fitness. This could be about relationships. This could be about whatever. You can decide what this unfinished business is. And this is not for you to stress yourself out and go, oh my goodness, I got 50 unfinished things. This is not about you stressing yourself out. This is about you making decisions and taking responsibility for your I am factor, the identity that you are adopting. Okay, this new identity, that identity that's connected to the goals that you've set for this year. This is all out April, so we are going all out this month. And in order for you to go all out, you have to make sure that you know what all out looks like. And all out begins with your identity. I know you guys have said, oh my goodness, she's been talking about identity since December. And she's probably going to talk about it some more. I don't know what's coming, you guys. But you will probably hear me mention identity a lot, because that is most important these days. Because if you don't claim an identity that is powerful and productive, that gives you that boost of confidence and allows you to train your own mind and take control of your mind and take control of your destiny, I promise you someone else will do it for you. They're going to tell you who you are, how you should think, and how desperate and nervous you should be about what's coming. That's not living. And there's no power in that. That's a powerless feeling. So, all right, back because I got a little off track here. All right, so give yourself an identity, okay, by naming who you're becoming, and that's your I am factor. Number 2, clear up the open holes that you have in your mind. And number 3, pick your one thing that you're going to commit to doing every day and every night, or every day or every night. You don't have to do it every day and every night unless you want to. But if you commit to it, do it. And if you say, well, you know what, I'm just going to do it every morning, then do that one thing, whatever that one thing is. It can be, I'm going to pray, because that's something. Let's say you may decide that, you know what, I could stand to pray more consistently. I'm going to read more. I'm going to exercise every single day. Whatever that thing is, I am going to do one money-making activity every single day to make sure I move my business forward and achieve the goals that I've set. So look at all of that and think about it. All right. So those are the 3 things. Stay tuned for the end, because I'm going to share more about my upcoming masterclass. You guys do not want to miss that. And I'm also going to share some other information about things that I have coming up that's going to help you get on track and stay on track. This is your year. Get in the mix in 2026, become more involved in your life. I know you hear a lot of people saying, okay, well, you shouldn't just think about yourself. It's not just about you. It's not just about you, but guess what? It begins with you. Because if you're no good to you, you're no good to no one else. And you can, get yourself in a position to do life with power. And that's not something that's going to happen for you a week from now. That's something that can happen right now. That's why I've shared 3 ways to improve your life now. All right. So listen to information about my upcoming class right after this. And in the meantime, you guys, I will be back with more on designing your life today. Okay. Here's information about the upcoming class. Here's what's coming up in All Out April. So I'm launching my magnificent monthly masterclasses, and we're going to start this month with the masterclass called Earning an Income Using Online Courses. I decided to do this masterclass because the previous month I shared an offer with a company that I partnered with, and it was a great offer. It expired March 31st. I'm talking to them about extending the offer. It looks like it's going to be extended because we had so much interest. And so with that being said, I received a couple of emails from people who took advantage of the offer saying their teaching is great, but we would love to hear some of your secrets about how you are earning money with your courses. So I decided, you know what? I don't mind. I'll share a few secrets. So that's what the masterclass is going to be about. Once again, earning an income using online courses. I am going to share some of my secrets, because when I started with my masterclass or with my courses, I had to make money quickly. This was kind of right after the real estate market had crashed, and I wanted to replace my income. And so I jumped in and I got things going. And listen, I started with a very, very small audience. So I'm going to be sharing a lot of my secrets. So with that being said, you can get registered by clicking on the link in the show notes, or go to designinyourlifeachieversacademy.com and you will see the name of the course there, or the masterclass, or you can go to designinyourlifetoday.com and it's right there on the home page. So I've given you 3 ways for you to get registered. I think you're going to be excited about the information that I'm going to share. The other thing is I have an upcoming power planning day. Normally I do my planning alone. I plan for the year, I plan for the month. And so again, at the request of some of the people I have previously coached, and I reached out to some others, and they were explaining to me that, you know what, planning is not as easy as it sounds. So what can we do? So I said, you know what, how about if we all come together and we do a power planning day, and I can walk you through it. And you're going to find that it's a lot easier. Some people found it hard to focus. So I put some things together that will make that easier. So when we schedule that date, you will be notified. And if you want to participate in the power planning day, then you can feel free to sign up for the power planning day. The masterclass is free. The power planning day, there is a small fee, because there's a lot that goes into planning and then putting it together for you guys, because I'm going to provide you with some of the information as well as downloads that you would need. So with that being said, that's what we have coming up for this month. We're going to have so much more coming up throughout the year. So hopefully you guys are having a great time with us, and our numbers are reflecting that. And so with that being said, I want you to pass the information on about our podcast and share it with someone who you think could benefit from it. And in the meantime, I want you guys to do life with power, knowing that you're built by design to win. Can't wait to meet up with you in the masterclass. And don't forget to get on my email list so that you can be notified about the power planning day. You will receive an invitation, but this is something that you have to request to get information, to receive the information, because it's going to go out to my email list, and specifically to those who request to have the day. So with that being said, don't forget to click those links in the show notes, get signed up, or go to designingyourlifetoday.com, and you will see everything there on the home page. So I think that's it, you guys. I want you to have a magnificent day.